Welcome to another episode of the Caution Free Podcast. I am your host, Colton Sutley, along with my co-host, Tim Friedhaber. Today we have the driver of the number 48 Super Late model, Colton Flenner. Uh, Thanks for coming on, Colton. Just to kind of get started, I guess, kind of talk about how you got started in racing.
My dad and my uncle and my pap, they raced and kind of just a family tradition. And when I was 7 years old, my dad bought a go-kart and that's how it started. And I raced a go-kart till I was 13 years old. And at the age of 13, I moved into the crate late model division at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Motor Speedway. And I raced at crate cars for probably 4 or 5 years. And then I got into the super stuff, and that's where I'm at today.
Um, I was, when I was doing some research on you, I saw that you were the 2011 and 2012 crate late model champion at PPMS. Um, how 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 did it feel to be not only won your first championship, but or well, you might have won some in when you raced go-karts, but winning the first one in a full-size car, and then not only just the first one, but going back to back.
It felt really good to win my first championship in a full size car. I won numerous ones in the crate division or the go karts. I mean, Centerville is really considered my home track with Pittsburgh. When I was a little kid, we always went there, so I've always enjoyed going there. So to win two there meant a lot to me.
Um, so I don't know if you mentioned why, but why did you choose to race late models over any other type of car?
Uh, Late models pretty much all my family raced with my uncle, my pap, and my dad. I really enjoy sprint car racing a lot. So,
Late models, they've been growing on me the past couple years and stuff, and uh, now that started following like local racing a little more, and with you spelling your name correctly, uh, I have to root for you and stuff because I'm like I've seen a bunch of weird ways to spell Colton, and it's nice to see someone actually have the right spelling, and so I gotta root for you when you're out on a track.
that's the only way to spell Colton is how we spell it.
That's what I think, but um, going so and off of, you also so championships, but you also were the 2021 Lernerville Super Late Model champion. Um, and you have lots of feature wins at different tracks. What would you say, in your opinion, is your biggest racing accomplishment?
2017, me and my dad did the whole Lucas Oil tour, and I won Rookie of the Year doing that, which I think that's probably my biggest accomplishment to date so far. I mean, I won some championships, like you said, at Lernerville, and then I won one at Port Royal also, which that was really neat because, I mean, no matter what people say, I think Port Royal is the hardest weekly Saturday night track that we have. I mean, it's like comparing kind of like Fairbury for the late malls out in Illinois. It's our Fairbury. I mean, you got Eckerd, Satterley, Cover. I mean, you got all the top notch guys, Stoller that race there on a weekly basis. And it just puts you to see how good you really truly are.
I didn't realize you ran the full Lucas tour before. Kind of talk like about how difficult that was going out on tour and racing 50, 60 nights out on the road.
It was difficult for sure. I definitely got my teeth kicked in a couple times, actually all year. I mean, them guys are so good, and I didn't really have the equipment that I have now. I did it before we got teamed up with John Johnson, but it was something me and my dad always wanted to do, and it felt like that year was perfect to do it. I mean, I didn't even have a big trailer like back then. I had I think it was a 48-foot trailer, so I always went with one car and a dolly, and we did it, and we did all 53 races and got Rookie of the Year, which was a really cool feeling. And we met a lot of great people along the way, and I'm friends with a lot of the drivers still today. It was challenging, I mean, but it's something that I would never never regret doing. I think it made me a better driver and it made me realize a lot of things in life. And just to be able to have them guys in my corner to help me, that's also means a lot also.
Yeah, I see a lot of times when drivers go out on different tours and stuff, and when they come off of the tours, they might get their teeth kicked in, like you said, out on the tour and stuff. But then once they come off the tour, they start doing very well at a local and regional level because they went up against the best for a whole year, night in, night out, and being able to take what they learned to and implement it into like their local racing and regional level racing.
I say I agree with you 100%. I feel like it made me a better regional driver. I mean, I mean, when I go to the Lucas races, we do pretty good. I mean, I mean, I haven't won one yet, but we can at least race our way into them right now. So I feel comfortable with that, unless you get ran over like I got 2 Sundays ago at Port Royal, but that's a whole different story. But it's just I don't know when you race against the Lucas guys and you can race your way into a race, it makes you feel really good about your program and how good you truly are.
Yeah, I was watching that race, the heat race when you at Port Royal, with the Lucas Oil and stuff, and me and my dad we were watching, and we always root for like guys from around here, so we were rooting for you, and when we saw that happen, we were like, dang, that really stinks and stuff, and but. Um, I'm happy that I saw you were going planning on racing that Lernerville and Port Royal this past weekend before Mother Nature decided to mess up everybody's plans.
I say, yeah, we were gonna race Lernerville and Port again, but the weather is so crazy this year. I mean, I think I've only raced 4 or 5 times this year because every time I want to go somewhere, it rains out. Even this weekend doesn't really look that promising, but you never know. It's still early in the week, so it might change.
Yeah, I've been checking the weather past couple of days, and it seems like for this coming weekend, it's changed like 6 different times already. I think even today it might have changed like probably like 4 times, and I just haven't checked that much to see the changes. But it's
I say
been,
that weather changes constantly. It's aggravating sometimes.
yeah.
So,
Um,
I'm good now. My internet's fixed. I can hear you guys again.
okay.
So, uh, what would you say your like favorite memory racing has been?
Uh, I'd probably say doing the Lucas deal with my dad. My dad passed away in July last year, July 28th. So that's something I'm always going to remember. Just doing the whole Lucas deal with my dad. It was just me and him, and we literally did the whole deal, just me and him. And I think that was the coolest thing that I'll remember with him. And plus, winning my first super late race, that's something I'll remember. Just racing with him was something I'll always remember.
Sorry to hear about your dad.
Thank you.
So, um, some of your favorite tracks that you've been able to race at.
Uh, Around here, my favorite track is Port Royal. I mean, I love that place. But when I did the Lucas deal, I'd probably say my favorite track would be Knoxville or Lucas Oil Speedway. And but I think Port Royal put everyone of them to shame. I love Port Royal. I mean, I wish I'd lived closer so the drive didn't suck so bad on Saturdays going there. It takes me about 4 hours, but just everything about that place is awesome.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to go to Port Royal once. I want to say it was last year, I believe, and it's about a 3 hour, 3.5 hour drive for me, and it lived up to the hype. Like you see it on TV and you hear all the great things about it, and it really lived up to all of that. And I know when I'm watching on Flow, I see you go out there quite often, and it that it's like you do very well out there. And knowing that it's a 4 hour drive and you go out there, I think almost weekly it seems like how often you go out there. it's impressive that you're committed, that you like that track so much that you're willing to drive 4 hours one way just to go race there.
For sure. I think this is probably my fourth or fifth year going there continuously weekly. I mean, last year we didn't go because of my dad being sick. And then once he passed away, I didn't really have the racing in me. I didn't really want to do it. But just this year, I'm gonna try doing. My goal was to race the ULMS deal, but my new trailer isn't finished yet. It was supposed to be finished in the beginning of April, and it's still not here. So that kind of screwed me around with racing the ULMS deal. Like I couldn't go this past Friday to the race because I didn't really have a trailer to go far with. So I'll probably just stay committed to running Port weekly, and if I continue to keep doing good there, I'll keep going. But if I struggle, I can't financially just afford to go 4 hours away and not do good.
Um, do you plan on running Lernerville weekly now that you're not running the ULMS?
Yeah, I'll probably race Lernerville weekly. I mean, it's kind of like where my shop is. I literally can walk to Lernerville, so it's kind of hard to pass it. I mean, there might be a night or two I don't go there, but pretty much I'll probably be there every Friday. And that's one track the guy that owns my racing stuff. He goes there every Friday because it's close for him. So chances are I'll be there every Friday. There's always like I have races on my schedule that are scheduled on Friday of Lernerville, but we'll see on that day how I feel if I want to drive a distance or just want to walk to the racetrack.
Yeah, yeah. It's when tracks are so close, it's hard to pass them up. I live like 5 minutes from Tri-City, and it's hard to pass up. The only reason I don't go there is like having to go to work the next day because they race on Sundays, but it's still hard not to because it's like I can get home so quickly and be hop right in bed if I have to. But yeah,
That's one track I wish would race late models. I love Tri-City. I used to race there when they had the crate division on Sundays, and that's like my favorite track. I mean, that's it's a really nice racetrack.
yeah, I remember you mentioned that you wish that they have a super late model race. When I spoke to you, it's probably almost a month now since I saw you at Lernerville there, and I mean, I remember when I was a kid, they used to do the World of Outlaws used to have a 2 day show there for a few years, and
Yeah,
that was my introduction to super late models. And geez, I was probably like 6 years old, right around there, and so I don't really remember much of it. And then I faintly remember the when they had a crate class there, and that and shoot, I don't even the only drivers I can remember from back then when I was that young is like s- Bob Felmy, Rod George, and the sprint cars, and then my dad raced pro stocks, and then that's pretty much all I can remember because I was just you know when you're young like that, you don't pay attention to who's who and stuff like that.
exactly. You just go watch the races.
Yeah.
So with running Port Royal and Lernerville weekly-ish, where would you say like the competition is? Do you think it's better at Lernerville or Port Royal? Or it just really depends?
Uh, I'm not taking anything away from our guys at Lernerville, but I think the competition at Port Royal is 100 times better. I mean, it's not saying it's 100 times better, just you're racing against a very good caliber of cars at Port. I mean, like I said earlier, you got Stoller, Satterley, Eckert, Covert. I mean, I mean, Jeff Rhines. You got it's got kind of like a World of Outlaw weekly Saturday night race. I mean,
Hmm.
it's top notch people that race there, and they make you work for it. If you win there, you know you're good that night. I mean, you could go back and suck the next week, but you know you're good that night. And you know you were the top of the line. I mean, you're the top dog.
Yeah. Some of some of the names you mentioned, those guys, whenever like Lucas Oil or the World of Outlaws, whenever those guys race those series, that they're always like up front or like in at least in the feature and stuff. And like real competitive against the top dogs in the country when it comes to super late models.
I say like Saturday, he's already won a Lucas race, or maybe it was an outlaw race, but he's won one already at Port Royal, and I know Ziegler's done the same thing. So I mean, I think when you bring an outlaw race or a Lucas race to Port Royal, you can't count the regular guys out of winning the race because there's a really good chance that one of us could do it.
What would it mean to you if you won like a Lucas Oil race or an outlaw race?
It mean the world to me. I mean, that's something I've been trying for years to do, and it suck at the same time because I wanted to do it with my dad. I wanted to win one, but on the same time, obviously, I know he's with me still. So I mean, he'd be just as excited as I was. I just wouldn't be able to see him. But I mean, it would mean the world to me to win one. I mean, I hope someday I do get to do that. I mean, I really hope it's at Port Royal too, because that's a track that I really enjoy going to. But if it was the Firecracker, I'd just be just as excited.
What is
Yeah,
the closest you've ever got?
Uh, I finished sixth last year in a Lucas race at Port. That's probably the closest I've got. I did actually. I lied. I led. We went to East Bay in 2019, and I set fast time in my group. Won my heat. Started on the pole of the feature, and I led half of the feature. So that's probably the closest I've
Hmm.
legitimately got. And I mean, I think I had a shot of winning that night, but we had a carburetor issue, and the throttle was actually sticking. So once the track really slowed down, I couldn't slow down enough to keep it around the bottom like them guys are doing. So I mean, it's part of racing. You have your mechanical failures. They say when you lose one, you win one. So I'm still.
um, are there any tracks on your bucket list that you want to race at?
Um, I don't know. I kind of when I did Lucas, I kind of did all the ones that I really wanted to do. I can't really think of one right off the top of my head. I used to be Williams Grove until I went there. Then I kind of regret my decision because it was a little rough that night. Um, it's a lot smoother in the videos. But I don't know. I'd probably say Lincoln, which I might go there in June because they have that Appalachian Mountain Speed Week race out there. But that seems like a pretty cool racetrack that I would probably enjoy going to.
Yeah, I've heard that Williams Grove can be pretty technical sometimes, and I think there was a on Open Red, the World of Outlaw podcast a couple years ago, or actually it was more than a couple years ago. They had Greg Hodnett on, and he was explaining one lap around Williams Grove, and it took him like 2.5 minutes to like in not much detail to describe going around Williams Grove as like a perfect lap, and it just kind of shows how like technical it was.
It's a really insane racetrack. Like it's stupid fast, and it's so narrow. It's probably the narrowest racetrack I've ever seen in my life. But I mean, it's a fun racetrack, but it's just not what I thought it was going to be. Which I mean, in their defense, when I went, it rained prior to the race, so I mean, you can't really expect much. But on the other hand, it's just I don't know. It's cooler on a video game. I'll say that much.
It- it- it's one of my least favorites on a video game, so I don't think I'd like it as an actual driver. But going on the more technical side, um, have you noticed a big difference in how late models are like arrow wise when you first started to now?
Oh, absolutely. Like when I first started, I mean, you could race like inches away. Now, like you can't even get like close to another driver going into the corner because you just can't steer. I mean, the arrow is so bad right now. I mean, opening night at Port, I was kind of stuck behind Jeff Rhines. We were racing for second, and I went in the one lap, and I was like super close to the back bumper, and I couldn't even steer. Like I almost hit the wall because it just pushed the car clear off the racetrack. It just took the air right off the front of the car. It's insane.
I've seen Dirt Tracker Daily. He's done a couple episodes where about the Arrow and about how um kind of shown how the cars have changed even within the past like 10 years, like just arrow wise, and like now how like crooked some of the late model bodies are, and like they're not straight anymore, they're like crooked because of the arrow factor, and trying to figure out how to deal with it a little bit better.
I see they're trying to make it better for us, but on the other hand, they're trying to like straighten the cars back out because there are, I mean, we have pushed the rule books a little bit. Like our cars are extremely crooked when you look at them. But I mean, if they're trying, I mean, it's trying, just trying to make our racing better because I mean, you can't really race close to anybody anymore without just getting a really bad push when you get close with the arrow.
So
So
what are some, or sorry, Tim, you can go ahead.
just no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
Um, does like the I'm not I'll admit that I'm not a huge late model guy, but some of the races like I watched, I noticed like there's different setups between like crate late model and normal late model. Like, can you just talk about some of the differences between the cars? Because I know when people look
Uh,
at them, they look like kind of the same, but
yeah. I mean, I'd say I mean, there's different things, but like our shocks are the same, but in crate division, you can't run stacks. Down south, you
okay.
can though. But which a stack is when you can stack two springs together. And then the motor is really the biggest thing. Like a super motor, you buy them from like a Cornet or a J Dickens or a Clemens or Vic Hill, and they make 900 horsepower, anywhere from 850 to 900. You might get one that makes a little more. And then a crate late model, you just go to like a GM dealership and you buy a GM 604 or 602, and they make 400 to 450 horsepower. Other than that, really, any more the crate division, the super division is pretty much the same thing. Like they can run the same shocks as us, same everything.
So this isn't a technical side, and this was the original question I was thinking of before I forgot the question. But I guess it's like I don't know around here, but down south it seems like crate money is pretty high, even compared to like normal super late model money. Is it just because like the cars, like I guess why does it pay so much to run crates? Um, is there like just cost effective or people just like it or
I think down south it's just more of the super lates kind of aren't as big down south. I could probably say crates are really big with that Crate Racing USA series. And that's, I mean, they pay decent down there too. Vicky, which who owns the Rush Late Model series up our way, she's doing a good job. I mean, she's got, I think, every Rush race this year paying 4,000 or more, which I mean, she's doing a really good job. And I mean, honestly, I could say, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I think crate racing's probably going to turn out to be bigger than super racing in a couple years because, I mean, unless you can buy the tires, like the super tires, are $230 a piece. Their motors are 50 grand. The fresh them up is anywhere from 10 to 20. I mean, unless you got somebody that is going to pay for your racing, I mean, a lot of the local guys, like if I didn't have John Johnson, I'd be crate racing for sure. If I'd even be racing, because I mean, this stuff's just so expensive anymore.
And you add in with that with the tires, there's three different compounds for late models, and I I don't know if every team does this, but I know like there's quite a few teams that have all three multiples of all three tires because they whatever is working best that night, or whatever however track is what they use, and they like to have all of the tires there.
I say like they came out with a new compound, so we have four now. It's called a 2 1/4. But yeah, I mean, their new tire rule is supposedly to help us kind of save money. But in the long run, we still got to buy just as many tires because you got to make sure you have a four with you all the time for the right rear, depending on the track. Some tracks you can use a three on the left rear, right front, right rear. So you got to make sure you have three of those. Then you got the 2.25s now, so you got to have three of those. And then you got to have three twos. So I mean, you're still spending as just as much money as when they just had 1300s and 14.25s and that stuff like that. But I honestly, I wish, I'm happy, the new tire, we're all starting to get used to it now. But really wish that they would have just stuck with like maybe 1300s and 14.25s and 1600s somewhere, maybe like 1300s, 1450s, since people down south had a tire to race on. I think that would have been a good choice, but I'm just a race car driver. I'm not the Hoosier guy.
So you mentioned earlier that you have a new trailer on the way. Um, I don't know if you're excited for that. I know some guys like really get amped up about getting new trailers. So what is there anything special about it? Are you looking forward to getting a new one?
I'm just really looking forward to get a trailer. Like my buddy Chase, he's letting me use his open trailer, but he's actually starting to race this weekend. So if I don't have a trailer this week, I'm gonna be really screwed. I'll be using my boss's flatbed to go racing. Which I mean, it's hard to go racing like, even when using the open trailer because I can't take my tool cart, I can't take my smasher, I can't take my pit lift. So like, I gotta take like bare minimum stuff, and it makes racing hard like that. It makes you appreciate what you had. So I understand what my dad always told me growing up that I should be appreciative of what I had because some people are less fortunate, which I totally understand what he meant by that now. But I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be really cool when I get it. Hopefully I get it this week, but I've been told I was getting it since April 1st, so I guess that joke was on me. April Fool's Day.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
no, go ahead.
I saw that you had the open trailer at Lernerville, and then I didn't realize that you were waiting on the trailer until the during the Lucas race there. They mentioned it on the broadcast or on the live stream, and I was like, "Well, I was like, that explains some of it," but I was just the grittiness of you always hear about announcers saying about how awesome it is to like see guys pull up in open trailers and stuff, and you don't see it very often anymore. But at the we went to the Steel City Stampede last year, Tim and I, and we were walking back from the bonfire or something, and we saw a sprint car was on an open trail, had an open trailer, and it was like gonna rain that night a little bit, and it was like, man, that really sucks having an open trailer when it's a multi-day show and it's gonna rain, and you just gotta cover it up with tarps.
I said that was like the hardest thing. Like this past Friday, it rained, and I didn't have the open trailer then because I was supposed to get my trailer last week too. So I told Chase, I was like, God, don't worry about your trailer. I was like, I'm supposed to get mine, so I don't want you to drag it over to our shop so I can use it for the weekend. Well, then it ended up raining in Lernerville. Well, so the time I got it off the flatbed, the car was stoked. So I had to hurry up and dry everything off. I mean, it makes it aggravating sometimes, but like I said before, it makes you appreciate everything. Like I had a big truck and trailer last year, like a toter and a liftgate trailer, but we sold it when my dad passed away because I don't know how to drive the thing. And that's what my partner told me. He's like, we'll just get a normal truck and a 30, I think I'm getting like a 34-foot trailer, I think it is. And so it'll be something that you don't have to count on anybody to take you racing and you can just go wherever you want to go. So I'm excited about that part. Like I can go wherever I want to go now. So I don't got to worry about having somebody drive me. Cause like as soon as my dad passed away last year, I had to count on people to take me racing all the time, which that kind of made it kind of hard because I had to count on that person to give up their weekend for me. Plus, I mean, some people just don't want to do that. I mean, racing, we're all a different breed in racing. Like we live, eat, and sleep in. Some people aren't like that.
So,
But luckily, my fiance's dad, he's a truck driver, and her uncle's a truck driver. So, not that they wanted to give their weekends up, but they did it to help me out. So, I appreciate that for them.
yeah, that's nice that you had that support around you to go racing throughout your career in racing. and I so you have a little one, and I'm sure some days you'll probably have to get her a goat cart and have her start racing and stuff.
Oh yeah, I have two daughters. She's actually 9 months today, and my other one's 4 years old, and she loves racing. She tells me all the time she's gonna race, so I'm gonna have my hands full pretty soon. Hopefully, she chooses a different profession. Maybe she'll be like a cheerleader or a dancer or something else. But if she wants to race, we'll have to do it.
Yeah, you'll
You're
have
gonna
to
have to
start
buy
picking up
another
some
toter.
Exactly. Gonna need to buy a bigger, or yeah, a toter and a trailer so that we can all go racing.
and
Because
pick
I
up
don't want
some
to quit anytime.
overtime.
Yeah, and overtime because I don't want to quit anytime soon. But obviously, if they want to race, I'll have my time or my time of fame, and my life will focus on them.
Um, so what are some of the your goals that you have for this season?
Uh, I just want to win. I mean, I haven't since my dad's passed away. Like my dad was everything. I mean, he was my crew chief. I mean, he was the brains. So like I'm still I gotta like teach myself all this stuff now. Not that I didn't pay attention or anything, but man, this stuff's so technical. Like things change constantly, and you always learn new things. So I mean, I just want to win races and prove to myself that I really can do this by myself and be the crew chief, the driver, everything. I mean, I got people that come and help me and stuff that I got to teach them too because I never really counted on anybody to help me because I always had my dad. So now like I gotta count on people to help me because I can't do it all by myself. So I mean, I want to win. I really would like to win a Lucas race. I mean, that's still my goal. I mean, this year, I mean, that's my goal every year is to win one of them. And I wouldn't mind winning a ULMS race, but mostly I want to race and have fun this year and win some races. Like my goal 2 years ago, I had a goal and it was to win 8 races, and I won 8 races by June, and then it all went downhill after that. Like I won them races, and then after that, it just sucked the rest of the year. So I mean, I told my partner last year before my dad got sick, I told him that my goal was to win 10 races, and it never happened because, like I said earlier, once my dad passed away, I didn't really want to race anymore. But I'd say if I could win 10 races this year, and I would probably make me extremely happy. But it needs to quit raining because so far the raining is winning all the races for me. But
Yeah, I've been planning on oh sorry, you can finish what you were saying.
I mean, I've come close a couple times this year. Like Porter, I got second opening night. And then Lerner I finished third the last two races there. So we're up front. I just need to make smarter choices. Like the last time we raced Lerner bought a brand new car. And I didn't really know how to adjust it. And I think I've got to a point that I know how to do it now and stuff. So like I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable. Like I feel like we could win 10 races this year as long as everything goes good. Like my dad always said, racing's you gotta have a lot of luck on your side. And hopefully I have a lot of luck on my side this year and I can win races.
So, um, what chassis are you running for?
We got Longhorn chassis, and then
Okay.
we have several comp people that build our motors. Like I got a couple Cornet motors. My new car is a J Dickens, and there's a company up in Clymer, New York called Krager Racing Engines. They've done a couple, like they've rebuilt a couple of my motors. So, but and then that's pretty much it.
Hmm, nice. Do you have any plans of ever running Lucas Oil or Outlaws full time again?
Um, I'd love to, but now having a family kind of makes it difficult. But I don't know. If the opportunity came, I wouldn't turn it down. I mean, I'd do it, and I just make sure I could still be a dad. I mean, that's right now. That's my goal. I want to be the best dad I can be. So I just have to make sure I could do both things and not forget about what's more important in life.
Well, you're doing a pretty good job right now, it, balancing an interview because of racing and taking care of your daughter.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Paper June is on. That paper June is on.
The other one's talking in the background.
Um, so I think I already know might know this answer from just talking to you, but do you have a preference when it comes to big or small tracks?
Um, I really enjoy bigger tracks, which a lot of people know that, but I don't know. I don't mind small racetracks. Like there's a track called Path Valley, which I'm sure everybody's heard of Path Valley. I really like to give that a try. I mean, that's a little boring. But when I did Lucas, we raced at Macon, which that was like the coolest racetrack in the world. It was super small, but it was actually like I sucked at first because I had like totally that was the smallest racetrack I've ever raced on. Like you never were straight. And come feature time, I finally got the hang of it, and it was actually a lot of fun. I don't mind racing. That's why I kind of really want to go to Path Valley because it kind of reminds me of Macon. So I mean, I like I like both tracks. I feel like a smaller track, you're more elbows up, and you gotta get up on the wheel. Not that you don't have to get up on the wheel on a big track, but I don't know. They're both really fun. I mean, I enjoy both types of tracks. Obviously, Port Royal, I love that out of any track.
Smell this.
When it comes to the like a slicked off track or like a more juiced up track, well, what do you kind of prefer when it comes to like how the track surface is?
I'd rather all day, every day have a track that was slick from top to bottom, no cushion. I hate cushions. I suck at running the cushion. I give major props to Michael Norris because I mean he is like the master at Lernerville when there's a cushion. And that kid don't screw up at all. Like he is extremely good when there's a cushion. I mean he's good no matter what, but I would rather a track be slick top to bottom, no matter what it is. Lernerville, Port Royal, a little bull ring. I'd rather it be slick from top to bottom than it could have a cushion. I'm slowly getting better in my age, but I like slick tracks.
Tim, do you have any more
Um,
questions?
yeah, I do have one more, and I'm sorry if I missed it at the beginning. I got cut off for a while. But have you ran like sprint cars or modifieds at all ever?
I've never raced a sprint car modified. I'd love to race a sprint car. And that's what I told him earlier that my dad and like my late model racing is really big in my family. My dad did it, my pap did it, my uncle. So kind of just like it's what I had. That's what my dad wanted me to race. Not that I didn't want to race it. I love late model racing. I mean, I really enjoy it. But I really enjoy sprint car racing too. Like I'm a big Sheldon Haudenschild fan. Like I I'll watch sprint car racing pretty much over late model racing sometimes. Hate to say it because I'm a late model guy, but I really enjoy sprint car racing. I always joke around with like Carl Bowser and AJ Flick that I'm going to switch cars with them one night and race their car. And I've actually already talked to Anthony Macri 2 years ago at Port, and it never happened yet, obviously. But that's what I told him. I said I'd bring my backup car if he brought his and let me drive his car one night and he could drive my other car. But I don't know.
That'd be
Maybe
pretty
someday I'll
cool.
get to drive a sprint car. I'd really like to try it. They look like a lot of fun. They definitely have extremely big balls. I can tell you that much because them guys at Port, they run like a hair away from the wall wide open. So I don't know if I'd be able to do it or not, but I'd sure give it a shot.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how like Anthony Macri's I'm surprised the wall hasn't fallen down with how he bangs the wall at Port.
I
It
say he nails the wall there. Him and Larson, like them two are like a different breed when it comes to racing at Port Royal.
yeah. But maybe someday you'll be like Brandon Shepherd and hop in a sprint car like he did this past week. Hopefully you do a little bit better than he did. He didn't do too bad, but it was a real tough crowd for him.
I say I think I don't think I'd ever hop into a World of Outlaw sprint car. Then I'd like just a local race. Actually, I'd probably like to practice first with nobody there so I don't make a fool of myself. But I'd like to give it a shot. I wouldn't even mind that rush sprint car deal. I wouldn't even like mind trying that just to get my feet wet first instead of just going straight to a 410. But you know, it's never out the window. I mean, someday I might switch. You never know.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions, Tim?
No.
Okay, we're just a couple more things and to wrap it up. Where can people follow your racing and get some of your merchandise?
I have my Facebook, which is Colton Flinner dash CFR. My fiance usually runs that Facebook, and then I have my website, which is www.coltonflinner.com. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't think it has anything else, but I think that's what it is. And that just pretty much shows my schedule. I don't have an online store up yet on my website, but all my apparel's on my Facebook, and then I have it at the racetrack pretty much every week. And I have Instagram. I got all that good stuff.
Um, this you want to shout out some of your sponsors and anyone else you would like to thank that helped you with racing?
Yeah, I have to thank John Johnson. He's who owns my stuff. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be racing anymore. He's in the last 5 years, he's made my programs like top notch. I mean, I can't get any more better equipment. It's just up to me to be a better driver. Uh, I got a lot of new sponsors this year, which I don't really know off by heart. But River Salvage, Jake Brake Customs, DGG Custom Coating Group, um, Pro Comp Customs, Stan's Transmission Services, uh, Colin Green Landscaping, Hotsy of Mart, just everybody that helps me. I mean,
Sissy.
I got like help from like Randy Weaver and Jason Durham, so I got some really good brains behind me that can help me teach me things. And I mean, all my everybody that helps me, it means a ton to me because this is the year that I'm doing everything by myself. Like I got John that owns the cars and the motors, but I have to pay for everything else. So I'm getting a whole new meaning of racing this year for sure. So I mean, it's helping me a lot with them guys helping me, and I really appreciate them. And obviously, I mean, my dad's not here, but I gotta thank my dad. I mean, my dad's who got me to racing and got me to be where I am today. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I mean, I missed him man a lot. Just it sucks going racing without him, but I just gotta keep making him proud.
Well, I think you're doing a good job of doing that. He with just from talking to you now and when I talked to you at Lernerville, with how uh good of a dad I've seen you be and stuff, I think your dad would be very proud of you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Um, well, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. Hope we didn't take too much of your time, and you gotta have some fun with your daughters there, and you know, but thanks again for coming on. We really
No problem.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it a lot.
That was a great episode with Colton Flenner. Really appreciate him coming on and wish him good luck this season. Hopefully he can get 10 wins like he wants to, and hopefully we can see him in the victory lane at the Firecracker this year. Um, Go like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, rate 5 stars, and follow on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Um, we're on all social media and at the Caution Free Podcast. And then we have a website, www.thecautionfreepodcast.com. Go out to a dirt track and watch some racing.